Tim Moy, back for another video. This time we're going to do exterior light inspection. In other words, I'm going to walk around the vehicle and show you what to look for to make sure that all of your lights on the outside of the vehicle are working properly. That way, you may need to take it in for servicing those lights if you don't know how to replace those lights, but at least you can check to see if all your lights are working properly. So, couple things to know before we do this. Some of your lights work on battery power, meaning that you can just turn the light switches on and they work. Like your brake lights. You push the brake pedal, your lights come on no matter if the car is on or not. Headlights is another light that comes on no matter whether the car is on or not. That's all done by law. And then there's lights like turn signals that you have to have the key on. Okay? But a lot of our cars today don't have that physical key anymore. So we're going to try and talk through some of that. We have keys, so what you want to do is you want to get your car into what we call the run position. The engine, if you have an engine, my vehicles here don't have engines, so we have to get them into what's called a run position, which means we want the car on without the engine running, if it has an engine. So in this case here, if I have the key, all I gotta do is turn the key, usually two positions. That third position is a spring-loaded position where the starter starts cranking over the engine to start the car. You don't need to go that far. You just need to put it in, turn the key a couple clicks, and you'll notice your instrument dash light up or your gauges come on and so forth. If you have the push button start, which this vehicle has, most of the time it's a matter of pushing the button a couple of times, or in this case here, pushing the button in and holding it in. So I'm just going to reach across, and usually it's about 10 seconds. And you will notice that the instrument cluster will come on, and once it comes on, it's in the run position. It's not ready to drive, it's not going to go anywhere, but I can turn my radio on, I can turn everything on the car except it ain't going to run. It ain't going to go down the road. So this way I have what's called ignition power. Backup lights work on ignition power. So next thing I'm going to do then is check my lights. And so I'm going to take my light switch. In this case here, years ago, most light switches were three position: off, park or run, we call them parking lights or running lights, and then headlights. Most switches today have four positions: off, auto, and then park or running lights, and then headlights. Now some of these positions like off and auto may be backwards on some cars, but that's just the way the manufacturer tells you to do it. So I'm going to turn my switch all the way to headlight, so that way I can see my headlight. I can see it glaring off of a wall or my toolbox or what have you, and I can see that both sides are lit. So now what I'm going to do is turn on my brights, and I'm going to see that they both changed. If they both changed, then I know that my headlights are all working, so I can turn my headlights off. So all I'm going to do is go back one position to the park or running light position. So now I can check all my red and amber lights that are around the car. Red in the back of the vehicle, amber is going to be in the front of the vehicle. But in order to save time and be more efficient, what I'm going to do, instead of turning on turn signals, because I have my key on, I'm going to turn on the four-ways, or my emergency hazard lights. That's right in here. I'm going to turn this on. This way it's turning on both sides all at the same time, so I don't have to do this twice. So the other thing that I might want to do, and we tried doing it with this vehicle, is put it in reverse. If you have a conventional vehicle with a gas or diesel engine, key is in this run position, engine's not running, you can put your foot on the brake, put your shift in reverse. You might want to apply the parking brake or block your wheels so the vehicle don't roll if you're on an incline or something, on a hill. But basically, if you can put it in reverse, now you can check your backup lights on. We tried doing it with this vehicle, it kept on kicking out in reverse. Because it's not a conventional vehicle, so we weren't able to do that. But otherwise, once I do that, we're going to be able to check everything but the brake lights. So this is a side marker light. Sometimes this is incorporated into the tail light, but this one here is separate, and I want to make sure that I've got my side marker lights, my running lights. Okay, these are lower, dimmer lights than brake lights. Brake lights, there'll be more lights lit and it'll be brighter. I have my turn signal on both sides, okay? This would be my backup lights if I had it in reverse. Again, we couldn't get this vehicle to stay in reverse long enough and be safe. That was another part that was concerning. This I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I'm going to check my license plate lights. This one has two lights. Some cars only have one light right in the middle. This one's got a switch right here, so they put two lights in here. So I want to make sure my license plate light's light. I got my turn signal. I would normally check my backup light, running light or brick there, side marker light here. I'm going to check if I got turn signals on my mirrors. Now it may be here and it may be on the front of the mirror, and that you'll see if you're in the car. My front side marker light, my front turn signal light. On some vehicles, especially a little bit older vehicles, this may be a running light and a turn signal. Therefore, it wouldn't be going bright and then out. It would be bright and then dim, bright and dim. That dim one would be like the brake lights are right now, or running lights in the back. They're on a dimmer, 2 filament bulbs. Okay. This has got accent lights or halo lights, daytime running lamps, multiple terms that's used in the industry. You see this on a lot of vehicles for the last 5 years or so, surrounding the headlight. And you want to inspect to make sure those are all usually LED on any modern vehicles. Check my turn signal over here. Again, I don't have a running light here because I have this light up in here. And then I got my side marker light. So now we'll move back in here. We'll talk about how we're going to inspect the brake lights. So I'm going to turn off my hazard lights. And I'm going to leave my running lights on so that you can see the difference in the brilliance of the rear brake lights. But what I need to do is if I want to do this by myself, I don't have somebody to help me, I need about a 2-foot prop rod. This is an extension toolbox out of my toolbox, but you can get a piece of wood or whatever. You're going to prop this up against the brake pedal and then bring your seat. And that should, all you got to do is apply the brake pedal a little bit so you get your brake lights on. And then we can come back. And we can see now that this brake light, before it was only lit through here, now it's lit through the top as well, and it's much brighter. We can see that our third brake light, or another term is used, center high mount stop lamp. That's more of a technical term, but third brake light, and our other brake light is working. Now, down to this. If your brake lights are on the hatch, which this is becoming not necessarily popular, but you're starting to see some of these. If I open this, these are going to go up. And then your brake lights come on down below. So if you have this, which is not very common yet, but we're seeing a few vehicles, some Hyundai and Kias have it, this vehicle has it, some European vehicles do this as well. It's just something to be aware of. When you see that, that's an extra brake light in case the hatch is open, because now these aren't visible. So that's how you inspect your exterior lights. Hope that was helpful.